Albert Einstein is remembered as one of the greatest geniuses in history, but what many people don't realize is that his most revolutionary ideas didn't come from complicated formulas or endless hours in the laboratory. Instead, they came from something far simpler yet infinitely more powerful: the ability to use his mind in ways most of us never even consider. Einstein's true secret was not just intelligence, but the way he accessed imagination, intuition, and the subconscious to uncover truths that logic alone could not provide. Einstein himself admitted that many of his groundbreaking discoveries were born from what he called thought experiments. Instead of working with machines or tools, he would close his eyes and immerse himself in vivid mental scenarios. One of his most famous experiments began with a question that might sound almost childish. What would it be like to ride on a beam of light? That single imaginative question eventually led him to the theory of relativity, one of the most important scientific breakthroughs of all time. This shows us something extraordinary. Genius is not only about solving equations, but about daring to imagine the impossible. Einstein's ability to visualize scenarios so clearly that they became almost real in his mind gave him access to insights that would change physics forever. He didn't just calculate, he experienced his ideas as if he were living inside them. What's fascinating is that Einstein never considered imagination a secondary skill. In fact, he often said that imagination was more important than knowledge, because knowledge is limited to what we already know, while imagination embraces the entire universe of possibilities. This philosophy guided him throughout his life and allowed him to bridge the gap between science and creativity. But where did these mental abilities come from? Einstein was known for spending long hours in solitude, walking, daydreaming, or playing the violin. These moments, which many might consider distractions, were actually the fertile ground for his greatest discoveries. His mind wasn't trapped in constant calculation. It was free to wander, to explore, and to make connections that others couldn't see. Modern neuroscience today confirms what Einstein intuitively practiced. When the mind enters relaxed states, walking, listening to music, or even daydreaming, the brain becomes more creative, forming connections between ideas stored in different regions. This is what we call the incubation period, when the subconscious works silently in the background, connecting dots until suddenly the answer emerges like a spark of inspiration. Einstein's life was full of such sparks. He often described them as sudden moments of clarity, where the solution appeared all at once, not through logical steps, but as a complete vision. That is why he valued intuition so highly. He once said, "The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant." We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. For Einstein, the secret was to use both, but always to trust intuition as the guiding force, and this is where his mental secret becomes clear. Einstein trusted the unseen. He allowed himself to ask questions that others thought were absurd. He dared to imagine what no one else imagined. He combined the power of curiosity with the freedom of imagination, and from that, revolutionary ideas were born. If this story is already inspiring you, make sure to subscribe to the channel right now. Hit the like button and share this video with your friends. By doing so, you help keep stories like Einstein's alive and inspire others to awaken their own hidden potential. Einstein's success also came from his refusal to separate science from creativity. While others tried to box knowledge into rigid categories, Einstein understood that the human mind was limitless when it was free. For him, solving the mysteries of the universe wasn't just about measuring and calculating. It was about seeing with the inner eye, imagining beyond what was known, and trusting the whispers of the subconscious. Einstein's relationship with his imagination went far beyond curiosity. It was a daily practice, a way of life. When he spoke about his scientific process, He often emphasized that the most important breakthroughs did not come from rigid logic, but from images and sensations that appeared in his mind. He once described these mental pictures as musical and visual, almost like dreams that carried meaning beyond words. For him, thinking was not always about language, but about forms, patterns, and feelings that later translated into equations. One of the clearest examples of this was his development of the theory of general relativity. The story goes that Einstein imagined himself falling off a roof, and in that instant he asked, "What would it feel like to be in free fall?" That single vision, simple yet profound, became the seed for a completely new understanding of gravity. Years later, he would describe that moment as the happiest thought of my life. This shows that even world-changing discoveries can begin with something as ordinary as a fleeting image in the mind. Einstein's secret, then, was not just to have these visions, but to take them seriously. Most of us dismiss daydreams as distractions. He, on the other hand, saw them as doors to new realities. He had the courage to follow his mental experiments wherever they led, even if they defied conventional wisdom. And because of that, he reshaped the very foundation of modern science. But what made Einstein unique was not only his imagination, but his ability to remain in a state of childlike wonder throughout his life. He once said, "The important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing." For Einstein, curiosity was not something you outgrow as you get older. It was the very fuel of discovery. He approached the universe with the wide-eyed amazement of a child looking at the stars for the first time. That sense of wonder allowed him to see what others missed. It is fascinating to realize that Einstein did not rely on genius alone. He cultivated habits that nurtured his creativity. Long walks, time spent playing the violin, moments of solitude, these were not escapes from work, but essential parts of it. He allowed his subconscious mind to process problems in silence, and when the time was right, insights would surface with clarity. In many ways, Einstein trusted the rhythm of his own mind more than the pressures of deadlines or the expectations of others. Modern psychology supports this approach. Studies show that the brain's default mode network, the system activated during rest and daydreaming, is crucial for creativity and problem-solving. Einstein was unknowingly harnessing this network every time he let his mind wander freely. While many people force themselves to think harder, Einstein understood that sometimes the best answers come when we stop forcing and start allowing. Another remarkable aspect of Einstein's mental secret was his balance between play and seriousness. He treated ideas like toys, experimenting with them, stretching them, and seeing how far they could go. This playful attitude freed him from the fear of being wrong. To Einstein, being wrong was not failure. It was simply part of the exploration. That freedom gave him the courage to propose ideas that seemed absurd at the time, ideas that later turned out to be correct. And perhaps this is one of the greatest lessons we can take from his life. Never underestimate the power of imagination combined with curiosity and playfulness. We often think genius is about memorizing information or mastering technical skills. But Einstein showed that true genius comes from keeping the mind open, flexible, and unafraid of wonder. If this resonates with you, I'd like to invite you once again to subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, and share it with others who are passionate about unlocking the mysteries of the mind. By spreading these stories, you not only honor the legacy of Einstein, but also inspire more people to reconnect with their own imagination and creativity. Einstein's vision of the universe was not just about numbers and theories. It was about beauty. He saw elegance in the laws of physics, harmony in the structure of space and time, and music in the rhythm of existence itself. For him, science was not cold and mechanical, but alive, mysterious, and poetic. That is why his discoveries continue to inspire not only scientists, but also artists, philosophers, and dreamers. As Einstein grew older, his mind never stopped searching. Even after achieving worldwide fame for the theory of relativity, he continued to explore questions that had no easy answers. He often said that the most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious, for it is the source of all true art and science. To him, mystery was not something to be feared, but something to be embraced. It was the spark that kept him moving forward, even when others thought his ideas were impossible or impractical. What makes Einstein's story even more inspiring is that he never saw himself as extraordinary. In fact, he often joked about being an ordinary man who was simply curious. He believed that everyone has the capacity to think in new ways, but most people never give themselves permission to do so. His mental secret was not locked behind walls of privilege or education. It was available to anyone willing to ask daring questions and to trust their imagination. Einstein also understood that the mind is at its most powerful when it is connected to something greater than itself. He had a deep sense of spirituality, though not tied to any one religion. He believed that the universe had order, beauty, and intelligence woven into its fabric, and that tuning into this cosmic harmony was the highest purpose of both science and human life. For him, scientific discovery was not about control, but about reverence, an act of aligning the human mind with the deeper mysteries of existence. And in this sense, Einstein's mental secret was not only about discovering physical laws, but about discovering oneself. His way of thinking reminds us that imagination is not just a tool for solving equations, but also for living a richer, more meaningful life. By allowing ourselves to dream, to visualize, and to connect with the unseen, we open doors not just to innovation, but to inner fulfillment. It is easy to put Einstein on a pedestal and think that his genius is beyond our reach. But the truth is, his own words remind us that imagination, curiosity, and intuition are human gifts available to all of us. You don't need to be a physicist to practice thought experiments. You can begin with simple questions. What if I approach my challenges from a completely different angle? What would it feel like to already live the life I dream of? What hidden connections am I not seeing yet? These questions, like seeds, can grow into powerful insights if you nurture them with patience and attention. Einstein's life shows us that revolutionary ideas are not reserved for a chosen few. They are born in the same space we all have access to, the mind. The difference lies in how much we dare to use it. Do we let our imagination wither under routine and doubt, or do we cultivate it as Einstein did, with courage, curiosity, and playfulness? In his final years, despite the fame, awards, and recognition, Einstein remained a humble seeker. He admitted that the more he learned, the more he realized how much remained unknown. To him, knowledge was a drop, but imagination was an ocean. And perhaps this humility is what allowed him to remain connected to that vast ocean until the very end. So as we close this journey into Einstein's mental secret, let us remember that the true lesson is not only about physics, relativity, or mathematics. It is about awakening the hidden potential of the human mind. It's about trusting our intuition, daring to imagine, and never losing our sense of wonder. That is how Einstein changed the world, and it is how we too can transform our own lives. If this story has inspired you, I invite you once more to subscribe to the channel. Click the like button and share this video with your friends. By doing so, you help spread the message that genius is not about being born special. It is about cultivating the gifts we all already have within us. Together, we can inspire more people to believe in their own minds, to trust their imagination, and to create new possibilities for the future. Because in the end, Einstein's greatest discovery was not just relativity. It was the revelation that imagination is the true engine of human progress, the bridge between the known and the unknown, the visible and the invisible. And that is a secret worth carrying with us every single day.